Hi everyone, my name is Pragna Nidumolu and I'm the founder of EcoTeens, an initiative that helps raise awareness of climate change and how teens can come together across the globe to do their part in making this world a greener place for them and future generations to live in. As a part of EcoTeens, we launched a podcast called Green Stories to bring diverse perspectives on sustainability and what we all can do as global citizens to address climate change. Today, we have a very special guest in this episode, Outi Gru. She believes in partnerships and collaboration as the key enablers of a socially, economically, and environmentally sustainable future. She's a seasoned and result-oriented management professional specialized in working with multinational companies, social investors, and social purpose organizations across different sectors, providing tailored solutions to generate impact and create effective change. She has an extensive background spearheading complex and effective programs in areas of strategic multi-stakeholder partnerships, social impact strategies, sustainability projects, global event coordination, and in communications. She has a proven track record of success in driving sales and fundraising initiatives and beating sales targets through strategic expansion of the company's income base. That's a very, very impressive resume.
Thank you very much, Pragna. Thank you for having me today.
Of course, it's great to have you. Getting into the questions. My first one is, you founded the Sustainability and Social Impact Consulting. Can you please elaborate a little bit on what your role is and what the purpose of it is?
Yeah, I would be happy to. I've been working at a variety of roles throughout my career, but I recently founded my own consulting company, which I call the Greener Advisory. I maybe have a little bit background on the name why I chose Greener Advisory. Obviously, I work in sustainability, so it's a very apt name, but it actually is also the meaning of my surname. So my surname in German means greener. So it's very fitting for my purposes. I set it up for practical reasons because I'm very passionate about working on strategic sustainability projects that can help create some impactful change in the world. But I don't want to have a full-time commitment due to family reasons. So it's an interesting way to be able to combine a career and a family life. So I'm very passionate about working in sustainability, always with a partnership approach. I really believe in collaboration and in bringing in multiple different types of resources to help achieve change. And it's important to me that I can really combine the meaningful career, family life, and just doing something for the betterment of the community.
That's really, really interesting, especially since you named it after your last name, and especially since it's in German and you Greener. That is really interesting and such a coincidence too that you ended up coming into this field.
Yeah, I did not ask my husband for his name, but it helped.
Elaborating on that, what inspired you to get into sustainability?
Yeah, that's a good question. The inspiration part. I think I'm lucky in a sense that I was brought up thinking about little green steps that one can take, and so with a sustainability mindset. My dad has always had really strong green values and then been advocating for living consciously, appreciating what you have. So me and my brother, we were brought up with this mindset, understanding that we have a role and we have a responsibility in preserving the planet. So this kind of thinking is sort of built into me, and my passion has always been to make the world a better place. So I've always sought for roles and opportunities of how I can pursue this passion. And even if it was a role that had nothing to do with sustainability per se, I was always trying to think, how can I create better practices within that workplace or within that university or where I am at. So it's really built into me, and then it's probably a lot to thank my dad for, that he had this kind of mindset early on, even before sustainability was really something that was spoken about, because this was well before sustainability became the new big word in the world as it is now. It's something I'm very happy about. But also for my career-wise, when I started building my career, I actually, because sustainability and sustainable practices was kind of always so obvious for me, that it was something that you just do. I didn't really think that sustainability can be a career. So I never planned for it, but kind of somehow opportunities came my way, and I always grabbed every opportunity that I felt that it would do something good for others, either for other people or for the environment. And then kind of went and built it from there. So it's really been practical opportunities, and then maybe coincidences as well. But it's difficult to think what the inspiration for that is. It's maybe the inspiration is, my upbringing, and my inspiration is that it's a built-in passion for me that we need to do something good with our lives.
That's amazing and so thoughtful that you picked a career that could help others and in turn helping yourself, and that's really amazing. I think that's also a lot of why I got inspired as well, because sustainability is such a big topic now, but when it wasn't, people needed to come up and make a difference, because if not us, then who will take the stage and help the future generations live? So I think that's amazing. Can you explain a little bit about what advisor is and what your role in it is?
Absolutely. So I work both as an advisor and as a consultant. I'm really an independent consultant. I've taken on some advisory roles as well. It's not necessarily a massive difference. It depends. These are not strict definitions anyways, what I use for them. But basically, how I would distinguish between these two, it's as an advisor, you're using your knowledge and your expertise to guide and to advise, as the word suggests, someone else, an organization usually, and to support their improvement, such as business development. So in sustainability field, an advisor might be advising the leadership team or a board of a company in more sustainable practices, understanding how their policies need to be further developed, what implications they might have, and how they can do better, and how this links to the business development on long term. And then, so this is not a dictionary definition, it's more of a practical perspective to what an advisor might do. And to me, it's really closely linked to consulting. And I would say typically an advisor takes more of an kind of advising role, so giving recommendations and guiding the decision-making process, whereas a consultant would then take the work into a more pragmatic level, so working a little bit more hands-on with the clients to execute the needed changes, the policies, or build programs and strategies as well. So, but please don't take these as strict definitions. They're just titles, and they can be used to cover a huge variety of situations and needs. Really depends. But mostly advisors and then consultants are someone who is an external support for the organization, and then really lending their specific expertise to help that organization overcome some challenges that they're having, or to really just improve their practices. And in sustainability, that typically relates to creating better policies or execution of those policies, understanding what sustainability could mean for that organization, how they can link it to the business development, so make sure that they are doing some transformative changes for long-term impact.
That's really, really interesting. And I feel like people, when they think of sustainability, they don't think of it as a career or a way that they can make it into a job or a way that they can earn money. Because I think that's why a lot of people don't think about it much too, because as a job, you're gaining both ways. You're gaining by helping the environment, and you're also helping yourself. And I think that's really interesting that you're part of this amazing organization or company called Advisor that helps change policies to help the cause of sustainability move forward. I think that's really amazing.
Thank you. Yes, it's an interesting movement as well to have those opportunities because there's more and more interest. But I would say a lot of organizations and companies are starting to have more interest and in understanding how they can better their practices, but they might lack the internal knowledge of how to. So it's good to bring on external people as well who can help guide them, and then they can help their team and then build their team towards achieving success as well.
I totally agree. How do you personally stay sustainable, like in your everyday life or in general?
Stay sustainable in Singapore.
Yeah, like how do you in your everyday life stay sustainable? Like what do you do?
I try to do my part. I'm not perfect. I think for me the great starting point is to be conscious and mindful of your actions and the impact that your actions can have. Singapore is in Asia. I've lived across in Asia, and every country have different opportunities as well of how to be sustainable. So Singapore is relatively easy in Asian context because there is a good infrastructure here, so it's easy to use the public transportation instead of driving your own car. It's easy. It's a small island, so often I can also walk or bike around. The tap water is healthy, so we never need to buy any bottled water. We can just use the tap water for everything. And then it's easy to come across different types of products that are sustainably produced. So there are wet markets where you can buy direct vegetables that are not packaged in a lot of plastics, for example. And then they have a recycling system here, not excellent, but at least there's a way to recycle some of the waste that you create. For me, it's more about trying to avoid creating so much waste. So really being mindful and considerate about what we purchase. With my children, we use cloth diapers, so we wash those instead of putting disposables into landfills. And then using reusable products anyways, such as use cloth wipes instead of paper towels. And being mindful of how we use water. That, when you're brushing your teeth, that they switch off the tap, take shorter showers, no baths, things like that. So Singapore is relatively good for practical little steps. In Asian context, not so much coming from Europe. I come from Finland and Germany, where we are way more advanced in the opportunities, in recycling opportunities. But every country has its own pros and cons on this. So for me, it's really about kind of being conscious about the way I live and the way I consume, trying to consider buying secondhand and buying sustainably produced stuff when required, and then donating it forward when not needed anymore.
That's really cool. And the fact that you think of every single thing down to the diapers that you use. Cloth diapers, I didn't even know that was a thing. That's really amazing and thoughtful too. In schools, they're trying to use less paper. They're trying to go more online. We're trying to use less energy as well. So I think the world is becoming a better place and we're trying to evolve, but there still is so much for us to do, and there's so much for us to change. And that's why people like you are helping push this forward and helping more people learn about what we can do to make this world a better place. My final question is, what is your message to the community?
I think my message to the community, when we're thinking about our own sustainability, coming kind of back to the previous question as well, is that you need to do something, but start small. Because I agree with you that the world is getting better at understanding such practices. It's really great that you have that at school as well, that they're considering about how to save energy. In a cold country, you can lower the heating, and in a hot country, you can make sure that you don't run the AC at at the lowest temperature, so it always becomes a balance. But we all can think about our own actions. So for me, it is about getting started. That's the first step. And when I think of consumer behaviorism and consumers' challenges in being more sustainable in their everyday lives, I think it's often that they tend to expect too much, that the bar is too high, and thinking that, it's too cumbersome, it's too much work, and then I don't make any changes because it's easy to keep the status quo. So for me, it's always a message is to start with little steps, do something, anything good at first, and then kind of build it from there. So there's this wonderful organization called the Green is the New Black, who have a campaign about the little green steps. And I think that's such a wonderful campaign because it really highlights how much impact even a smallest action can make. So we have to start believing that our actions can make a difference, and just get started, because once you take those first steps and then you realize that, okay, behavioral change is possible. I've learned this. It doesn't make my everyday life any more difficult than it has to be. So then I'll take the next step and the next step from there. So you don't need to change your whole life and your whole world at one go. Just start with one little green step at a time, and then build it from there. But first of all, we have to believe that it makes a difference, and our actions do make a difference.
That's really inspirational. When I was younger, I never thought, I kept hearing make sure you recycle your plastic and all that. And I always thought I'm just one person, what can I do? It's just one plastic bottle, I can throw it in the trash, it's okay, just for today. But every single person has the same mindset, and everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's just thinking, it's okay, I'm just one person. But together, if we change our mindset, we change our thinking into believing that every single one of us can make a difference, and making small steps, like you said, that we can make a real difference. And
absolutely.
Yes, definitely. That totally resonates with me. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for joining us today, and it was such a pleasure to talk to you. See you in the next one.